When I watched those videos, the nurses couldn't believe I watched all of them in a 24-hour period. Like I said, it was a whole week full of videos. I watched it over again. Now, the interesting thing about this, too, is when it clicked, I didn't want anything else to eat but salads. I ate tomatoes, onions, red onions, garlic, anything with vegetables, raw vegetables. Like I said, I was there for 6 days. On the 6th day, when I was due to leave, the dietitian comes in and said, well, she was giving me a journal of the things I can eat. So she said, well, you can have diet soda. I said, well, I don't like diet soda. Well, it's good for you. Okay. You can have 7 grapes. 7 grapes? 7 grapes, that's all? Yes. Okay. You can have Jell-O. Jell-O? I don't like Jell-O. Well, you got to eat it. I said, okay. I said, what else can I drink besides diet soda? She said, you can have that. That's no problem. I said, well, what about the acid? Then she got upset and said, well, I know what's good for you because I have the master's degree in dietitian. I said, what does that have to do with me asking you what I can eat? So she got kind of quiet on me. And then she said, well, here's your menu and have a good day. So...
yeah, let's just stream him out of here. He's asking too many questions.
Right.
And that's what happens.
That's right.
That's a very good point because people have to learn to ask questions, to their doctors, to their dietitians. Just because they tell you something, don't take it as the gospel.
And that's true. I think we give up our strength, and that's when weakness comes into play because we think the doctors and dietitians and diabetes educators know everything, but a lot of times that's not the case. And because they're saying we need to do these things, yes, you want to listen to your doctor, but you have to do your own personal research. Yes, diabetes saved my life, but it was you have to hit rock bottom sometimes in order to see what you're really going through.
That's correct.
So yes, diabetes saved my life in order to reverse this disease.
Wow.
So when it was time...
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I just wanted to say, I know I was very moved by your story. I actually do not have diabetes myself, but my sister has diabetes, and she's been battling it for years, it seems like. But what was amazing in your story, you said you reversed your diabetes within 3 months?
Yes, within 3 months. Because once I left the hospital, but before I left the hospital, what was interesting is my sugar level was 275. The nurse said, okay, you're leaving today. Your sugar level is 275. I said, isn't that still high? Yes, but you got to leave. Good luck. So when you have that type of experience. Yeah. And that's interesting because when you feel like that, it's like you're swimming, but you never reach the side or the curve because you have no support. You don't know really what to do. And that's the way I felt when I left. So when I left the hospital, with my sugar level being 275, my wife really helped me by spending the time with my sons so I can do research to see what I need to do to reverse this. And what I did... Yeah, and the sad part about that, too, a lot of people don't have that support.
Right.
So if they're going through this alone, it could be very difficult.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people don't want other people to know that they do have diabetes, too.
That's a very good point. That's true.
So if they...
Some people struggling on their own, like
right.
you said.
if they ever get to a point that they want to share their information or their story, you'd be surprised how many people are out there willing to help and give you information that will help you. Because when I was on this journey of recovery, I read every book. I went to the library. I lived there. I was there from the time they open around 9 till 9 at night. Reading books, researching, talking to people. I mean, internet, getting on the internet. And what I did, which was beautiful too, I walked every day, regardless if it rained, twice a day. Like I said, I ate nothing but vegetables because I found out when you eat Brussels sprouts, broccoli, spinach, these foods have phytonutrients that reverse insulin resistance. Because when you have a disease like diabetes, your cells are broken, okay? What's going on is when you eat food, how a normal cell works, when you eat food, right? Your food is converted to glucose. Then your insulin is released and your glucose, your sugar level goes up a little bit. Okay? But what happens is the glucose gets absorbed into the cell, so your glucose level goes down to a normal level. Okay?
Oh, okay.
That's a normal cell. Because what happens too, when you get that energy, that ATP, that's what burns that fat, the mitochondria. Okay? And then when you have these cells, you got cells that communicate, they talk to each other. It's a glycol transport that they communicate to each other, and they warn your immune system that, hey, we have a problem or everything is okay.
Okay, well, that's a good way to break it down.
Yeah, because the beautiful thing with this cell, you have over 70 trillion cells. Now, not all of them do this, but when you get diabetes or heart disease, it works kind of like the same way. So when you eat food, your sugar level or the glucose don't get absorbed into the cell.
Right.
Your cell is inflamed, so when you eat, your sugar level goes even higher. See, a lot of people think that when you give someone insulin, glucophage, or some of the anti-diabetes drugs, now see, it's not a problem with your pancreas. Once you eat and it's not being absorbed, it's just staying in your system and the sugar level is going higher and higher. So the warning signals are turned on, and it sends a warning signal to your pancreas, and your pancreas starts to shoot more insulin, thinking, hey, we got a problem here. That tired feeling I was having when I said I felt lethargic, that was the ATP not burning the fat. My mitochondria is like halting because the waste is building up. Remember I told you about the inflammation on my thumb?
Right.
The waste
just didn't have anywhere to go. Then.
Exactly. You're exactly right. The waste is not going away. It's staying within that cell.
Okay, so then in theory, actually, you would have a host of other different problems that are going to arise.
You're absolutely right.
Taken care of, correct?
That is correct, because once your sugar level starts to rise, it sends a signal to your kidneys to say, hey, you have to work harder.
Right.
So you start having...
like a chain reaction.
That's
at
right.
that point.
Your kidneys starts to fail. Then your liver starts to fail. Your cholesterol starts to build up. It's a domino effect that's taking place in your body. And the sad thing about it, next thing you know, you're on cholesterol medications, you're on diabetes medication, you're on dialysis, you're on about 10 different drugs.
Blood pressure medication.
The high blood pressure, because what's going on, because of the glucose is so high, they're going to give you 10 different medications minimum.
Yeah, really.
And it can't fix the problem.
Exactly. It's just like slapping a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
And that's right, because once you see that the medications don't work, why do you still prescribe them? I tell a lot of the clients or people who I run into who has diabetes, ask your doctor, has he ever reversed diabetes using medication? Not one has came back and said, yes, he has done that. Because you can't repair...
And you won't find one.
Exactly. Because you have to remember, a cell is made of protein, carbohydrates, water,
right,
and fats.
Okay.
That's a natural process of a cell. You can't take a chemical to reverse that. So what you have to do is give it the foods that it needs. What I found out, and what I've done the research on, is I found out when you use spinach repair problems in your gastrointestinal tract where all diseases occur.
So spinach is the super vegetable.
That's right. That's
and
right.
This is fresh spinach. I take it, not canned and not frozen, or just what's the best?
Fresh.
I know a lot of people are wondering.
Fresh is the best.
Okay,
Now
fresh is the best. Okay.
you can use frozen, but fresh is the best because a lot of times we buy these foods and they go bad because we don't use them.
That's true.
So frozen is good. Canned you want to stay away from because they boiled it and the nutrients and the enzymes are gone. They're dead.
Oh, okay. So it's not even worth basically eating it out of the can.
No, it's no
because
use.
you're missing the best parts of it.
Exactly. Brussels sprouts has a polyphenol that reduces insulin resistance. Same thing with string beans. These are the foods that we need to implement in our diet every day. Those dark green leafy foods will save your life. Garlic, carrots, onions, red onions, peppers, red peppers, yellow peppers, all the peppers. These foods will save your life.
And definitely red onions are better than yellow onions. Is that correct? Is that a correct statement?
Well, they both serve their purpose. Because that's hard to say which pepper is better than the other because they do different things. It's just like when you have different herbs. If you say you have black cohosh, that's an herb. Or Genema sylvester, that's an herb. You can't say one is better than the other because they do different things for the body. You know what I mean? Yeah, because it's coded. It's coded to fix your body according to the definition of that herb.
So each of them serve a different purpose.
Exactly. But it changes the taste of the food, the garlic, the onions. But the hard thing we must understand, it's hard to change because our bodies have so many chemicals and drugs from the processed foods. It's like, so if you start eating these foods, you're going to actually go through a withdrawal because you're going to keep deviating back to the old processed foods.
Would you recommend doing a cleanse beforehand or?
No.
In your opinion?
I think the best way to do, because everybody can't do like I did, okay? I'm not saying it's easy, but I was at a point that I didn't want to die.